All right, we are talking about Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford actually denies claims that he is passing the baton in the upcoming Indiana Jones 5 titled Dial of Destiny. His actual quote was, "No, I'm just telling a story."
I mean, did you ever think you were going to get something juicy from Harrison Ford anyways? Like, he is the king of not telling you anything, pretty much. So,
Yeah,
other than you can kill off my character, please.
right. You know what's funny is he talks about passing the baton. I think in his mind, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just didn't happen.
Is that, I mean, do you think that's how he feels about it? Or is that
You
why
know
Steven Spielberg doesn't want to do a fifth one?
that one movie that no one talks about, Indiana Jones 4.
I never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about. There are no aliens in Indiana Jones.
So this movie came out, and remember, Shia LaBeouf, whatever, the skinny version of me, was like, he was playing a character that was like Indiana Jones, possibly, I guess, Indiana Jones's son, or maybe it was. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, he was like young Indiana Jones, right? Wasn't that what it was?
He was like a little street thug that went on the adventure
Right.
with Indy, and at the very end, Indiana Jones, his hat fell off, and Mud, I think his name was Mud, Shia's character went to go pick it up, and he's like, "Not so fast, buddy."
Yeah, that was great.
And here's the deal: like, that movie actually had some really cool moments. That moment in particular was good because it was almost trolling fans, because everyone was assuming that Shia LaBeouf was going to take over as Indiana Jones because, Harrison Ford is 137 years old.
Right.
And what actually happened, though, was right when that moment was going to happen, everyone was geared up for it. Harrison Ford was like, nah, bro. And he grabbed it. So that movie was a bad movie. And that's why everyone acts like it didn't happen, because it just doesn't add anything to the franchise. It only detracts, right? Mutt. Was his name Mutt? It was Mutt. My bad. Stupid name.
Mud.
Stupid name for a character. Anyways, so the reason people act like it doesn't happen because it actually detracts from the franchise. It detracts from the lore of Indiana Jones. So most people just go, you know what? It didn't happen. Almost the same way we feel about Star Trek Discovery, where we're like, what? Star Trek what?
Right.
Oh no, that was a Spock fever dream, and that didn't actually happen
In an alternate universe.
because Klingons don't look like that. We've all established that. And what's really funny is the Star Trek franchise themselves establishes that. So we've tried to explain it. We tried to go, well, maybe it was like a small sect of Klingons. But when it gets to the point where it's impossible to explain, the easiest thing is just to be like, well, it didn't happen. Right?
Right.
So Star Trek 4 didn't happen. So what we're going to see is we're seeing Star Trek 5, but the studio mistitled it. It should be Star Trek 4. I'm sorry, Indiana Jones. We're about to see Indiana Jones 5, but the studio mistitled it. It should be Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah, and I do have a bone to pick with this Dial of Destiny thing.
Right.
Because they don't typically, I don't believe they name it. I guess they named it, the Temple of Doom, right? So Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Right.
Indiana Jones and
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Crusade.
Right.
Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is very specific. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So they're actually speaking about like the thing that they're going to be doing. It's not like Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant. Or Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail. You know what I mean?
Well, we assume that the thing is actually called the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, that's a good point. It could be a different name. So maybe it's a dial under a different name, which then I guess it would make sense.
Right. I was actually talking to someone else about that too. I'm like, we don't actually know what the thing is called. I mean, we know that they're pretty much basing it on the Archimedes. I can't say the word. That mechanism.
We don't know for sure, but it looks like that.
It looks like, right. It looks that way.
Right.
Which is, to be clear, thank you. That is what the Indiana Jones franchise does. Like, listen, guys, the Ark of the Covenant, that exists at some point in history, right? We don't know if
Well,
the Temple of Doom exists, but I'm sure a Temple of Doom existed. The Holy Grail is a myth, is sort of an article, an artifact that people believe exists, or maybe didn't. We don't know. And honestly, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is sort of like Crystal Skulls exist. We have those. Shane actually knows someone that has one.
That's weird, man.
Which
We never
is-
talked about that story.
it's
we like
so
got
weird.
on that. Yeah, maybe later we'll talk. Maybe in the member section.
In the
I'll
member
talk about it.
section, we will talk about how Shane actually knows someone that has one of the actual Crystal Skull artifacts. When he told me, I was like, "Wait, when you talking about the movie prop? No, and one of the actual Crystal Skulls."
It's an acquaintance thing. It's not like buddies or anything.
Right,
But yeah.
right. He's not going out much. But here's the deal: Indiana Jones does that. They take an artifact that they've known for a long time, that has some kind of myth to it, or some kind of like, mystery, and they make an Indiana Jones movie about it. And the books do the same thing. Indiana Jones and the Lost City of Atlantis, Indiana Jones and I don't remember all the movies or the books, but they basically do the same thing. So when I saw the Dial of Destiny, I'm like, okay, so this works, assuming that it's not just like a direct, the Ark of the Covenant,
Right.
Anyways, on to his exact statements. They actually asked him in an interview, a Collider interview. They asked him, "Are you really ready to hang up your hat this time, and are you passing the baton?" And Harrison responded with no. But he also kept his answer elusive and enigmatic, saying, "No, I'm just telling a story. You'll see. I hope you like it."
Which is the right answer, by the way.
Right.
Listen, as much as we all love to search for spoilers and completely ruin movies for people. Actually, I hate it. I don't like doing it, but it is part of what we do. There's a part of me who understands that they're trying to protect the fans. They're really trying to protect the experience.
Right.
The director, and all this weird stuff that Mangold is like he wants to get in front of people. He wants to punch people in the face.
Right.
He really has this he has this tweet from a long time ago where he's like, I'm going to be dealing with misinformation and I'm going to be right in their faces. I'm attacked, full attack. And I'm like, bro, you're a director. Relax. It's like, but he really has this aggressive tendency, but
Right.
not because he wants, not because it's anything really so much for him. It's really for the fans. Right. But it's also, a response to all those people who put out misinformation. And
right.
I think someone earlier mentioned something here about, Doomcock was right. The old Yorkshire geek. Doomcock was right. Maybe we'll see. Possibly not. I want to address this real quick, Brian, if I can. Really, really quick. So Doomcock's putting out a whole bunch of videos right now because it's hot and sexy to put out Indiana Jones videos now that the trailer's dropped.
Right.
But here's the thing. Everyone needs to keep receipts because everything that Doomcock's talking about is very salacious, and everything that we've looked into, it just doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. Now,
right.
I will warn everyone this, and when we talk about this, and this is for all YouTubers or social media people, if you go out there and you make a bunch of claims like this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen, and who knows, anything could happen in this movie, and then they don't do it. The one thing I don't want to hear you say, I do not want to hear you say they reshot everything. they retconned it after we let the world know the truth.
Right.
I don't like the fact that you're right no matter what. And there's too many people out there, and Doomcock included, even though he's entertaining, that kind of claim victory whether or not they're right or wrong. And we just need to remember that if we're right, we're right. And if we're wrong, hey, we got it wrong. And that's the best we can really do.
Yeah, and if you've been following us for a while, we're wrong about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's theory thingy.
Right.
The difference between us and other YouTubers, and no names mentioned specifically, is that they say this is what's going to happen and this is how you should feel about it.
Right.
And they tell people that. Now, we've done that with one show. because we've seen that show. But I don't think
Allegedly.
You can't right, allegedly, because you can't. I just don't think you should say that there are no like 100%. This is something when you don't know if it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's dangerous. And now you have a whole army of people out there going, well, this is what this is going to be. So
yeah, and the thing is, I think people have a really short memory because we've been wrong about a lot of stuff, and so has other YouTubers. And like you're right, we don't actually say this is what's going to happen. We'll be like, this is our theory. And to be honest, half the time our theories are trying to correct something, not really trying to predict it. More so like we really hope this is what happens.
Right. Ours are educated guesses generally, right. And sometimes we get little insider peeks, from people, and then we're pretty upfront to say, well, this is what it's going to be. Based on what other people have told us. And I know that other people do the same thing, but then they kind of double down on the info as if it's 100% correct.
Yeah,
I think that's what the trouble is.
They do this thing. They go, listen, my inside sources said Harrison Ford is going to have wild orgies in Indiana Jones 5. Right. Now, listen, take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's real or not, but my insiders said it was.
And then they say, so when they're having these orgies on Indiana Jones 5, and I'm telling you what's going to happen right now. And so it kind of leads into this, like, it was a hint, right, or it was an idea, but now I'm telling it to you as if it's truth. And that's where you get into trouble.
Yes. And you know what? To be fair, YouTubers are just copying exactly what the media does, right?
You're right. So the good point, that's already been done by the media. And look,
since
YouTubers
the 50s.
We're just people who are out there kind of going by.
New media is doing the same thing. I love this. And when when old media puts out an opinion piece, but they spin it like it's fact, right? Like, ready? This person murdered his wife, but it's an opinion piece. And then when it's proven completely incorrect, and the guy wasn't even in the country at the time, and the wife is still alive,
right?
The retraction will be printed on like page 155 at like.
They don't even put retractions anymore. So
I know,
you're right. They used to correct it.
Yeah, but it would be they used to correct it, but it would be like a 1 a.m, right, and it's buried way down, just so they can save face when someone calls them out on it. Well, we updated that story. They're not even trying to update it anymore.
So news to everybody who's upset about YouTubers and social media people who put out information. It's really no different than the news media does it. We're just not paid professionals, so therefore they can dump on us.
Right. That's really what it is. Super chat from Adam Warford.
Yeah, go ahead and call it out.
Adam Warford says the crystal skulls were proven as fakes. They were made in the 1960s, so they are not from the ancient world. The crystals are from today glass. Ooh, interesting. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's. I don't know. What's that?
I heard that as well.
I don't know if that's accurate, but you know what? Shane, like I said, Shane knows someone who believes he has one of the ancient crystal skulls. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I have also heard that it's a hoax. I haven't looked into it, but maybe we will. And
we might be able to actually see it.
We can see the hoax. We can see the hoax crystal skull and show everybody.
That'd cool. Another super chat from John Burns. I love the line from Indiana Jones in the afternoon nap. Chewie, where's my pillow? And the afternoon nap. That's pretty soon. That's always going to be able to say, right?
Listen, already sometimes I feel like I need one. So I
need a nap right now.
Take a nap.
All right. So also Mangold also had some thoughts about this, and we'll wrap it with this. Director Mangold said that he thought it was important to create a film that depicts Indiana Jones at the end of his journey, and his age is part of the storytelling. His exact quote was, "It became really important to me to figure out how to make this a movie about a hero at sunset. The issues I brought up about Indy's age were not things I thought were being addressed in the material being developed at the time. There were old jokes, but the material itself wasn't about it. To me, whatever is your greatest liability, you should fly straight towards that. And if you try to pretend it's not there, you end up getting slings and arrows the whole way." That's a great statement.
Yeah, and so what we need to do, based on, and I love this quote, and I found it when I was researching our video. Which, by the way, if you want to know what we believe is probably going to happen for Indiana Jones 5, then you need to see that video. It's coming out on Saturday, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's coming on Saturday morning.
On the main channel. It's going to go through
Even though I have COVID and I still have to work another 30 hours of my regular job.
I actually might have some good news for you about your working your regular job later, but I'll tell you about that later.
Oh, that's scary. I don't even know why you would say that right now.
it's good news. I want you to feel good. But Indiana Jones 5, the video is going to come out. But it's important, I think, that we note that quote that he said right there is really important, because James Mangold made a movie that was really well received, and it was called Logan, right? And it was about an aged Professor X, right? And an aged Wolverine, I guess, if he can age. And this feels like James Mangold is the right guy if he wants to, because that movie was all about feeling the age of the characters.
Right.
It was about them being old men. And now here he is doing Indiana Jones, and he just basically said it's important that you run face first or head into the problem. So we're going to see Indiana Jones probably in a similar light that we saw Logan, I'm guessing, with there being some troubles, some difficulties. And I don't know how Indiana Jones fans are going to respond to that, other than it would be weird to see an 80-year-old guy leaping from trains.
Right.
So maybe that's what he's talking about. What do you think?
Or flying a Nazi spaceship to the moon.
Yeah, not happening.
And then dialing the dial of destiny and going back in time. To make sure that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull never happens.
Sneak peek. We don't think there's time travel.
No, there's probably not time travel.
We'll talk about that more in the video.
All right, well, that's it for this story. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And on the way to the comment section, if you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I looked at our metrics recently, and a whopping 50% of the people that watch our videos are just not subscribed, which is weird. We have returning people watching videos, and they just don't subscribe. So
I don't blame them. Listen, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe, because it would be cool, for you guys to be subscribed. But I get it. I have a hard time subscribing to stuff. Sometimes I guilt subscribe. Do you guys ever do that? I guilt subscribe. I'm like, God, I've watched 10 of these videos. I feel bad. I should subscribe. And so then I'll subscribe because I feel guilty. Right. And not because and then, a month later, maybe I'm not watching it. But can I say one more thing about Mangold before we cut off of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just have some advice for James Mangold, who, by the way, has made some really good movies, is a good director. There are some people that just should not speak out a whole lot on social media. And I would just say to that guy, Mr. Mangold, stop punching down at regular people out there on Twitter who are maybe possibly criticizing Indiana Jones because they're afraid, because Disney has screwed up so many things, and they're afraid that they're going to also mess up Indiana Jones. So just remember that you're worth $20 million, and most of us are not worth very much. So be cool.
Right.
Not that you're going to see this, but be cool.
Yeah, not that you're going to see it. Yeah, what's funny is we have friends, the Salty Nerd guys, and Matt was beefing with Mangold, and it was if you look at Matt's tweet, it wasn't even mean. It was just a statement.
Well, and that's a good. It had nothing to do with Mangold. What's funny is Mangold. Most people didn't even know he was directing at the time when that came out. Right. He didn't know he was the director. So he was like, hey, Harrison Ford's old, Kathleen Kennedy, what? Steven Spielberg isn't directing. You guys make your own, and then Mangold came off the top rope with his elbow, dude. He was like, I'm going to destroy this guy. And
came off the top rope. I love that rep.
Dude, he was out of control.
It's Mangold in the corner. All right, well, that's it. Hit that subscribe button in the comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this. Indiana Jones 5.